Okay. Let's see here. Oh.
Alex Films presents True Stories. Narrated by Jim Harris.
I begin with another true story. As I was mentioned, I was raised in West Virginia, and we grew up on a 4-acre piece of ground outside of town, was about 4 miles. One thing that we loved to do was camp out. Behind our house was woods. That's where we camped out at. Anyway, this night, now it was me, Marvin, Arthur, Greg, and maybe a couple more. I can't remember right now. Anyway, we was going to camp out this night. And I was humbly minding my own business around the campfire, eating hot dogs, drinking pop, marshmallows, whatever we had. Anyway, here come Arthur. Now, it's dark, and Arthur's got this dummy, and he's got eggs. Now, understand the eggs was not for human consumption for breakfast the next morning. Oh, no, I'll explain that later. Anyway, Arthur loved the army. Arthur, his dad was in the army when he was younger, and Arthur was going to have a career. He wanted to join up when he was 18, and he did. He turned 18, and he joined up for a career in the army. Yeah, he had a career all right. It was a month or maybe 2, and then he come back home. I'll just say this, and I'll say no more. Arthur was different. yeah, he was. Anyway, Arthur got some old burnt firewood. It's always dirty and black. Say he's taking his hands and he's wiping it over his hands on the firewood, and then he's putting it over his face for camouflage purposes. Probably had dark clothes on so you couldn't see him. Anyway, and this dummy. Now, I'll be honest with you, back then, we did not name the dummy. We didn't. But for the story's sake, so you can follow along easier, we're going to give him the name Bobby. Bobby was the dummy. Now, the mission that night was Mission Bobby, as they filled me in. Now, the mission was we would wait till the middle of the night, and we would take Bobby, and we would go down and put Bobby in the middle of the road, okay? And then when the cars would come by, and no doubt they're going to slow down, we would take the artillery, which was the eggs, that we would throw at these things, and then we would fall back as needed. We fell back, all right, running like scared rats. I'll explain that later. Now, understand, I am only 10 or 11 years old, and I'm under evil influences, you know what I'm saying? And I will name out, no, I won't give you names, but I will give you initials of the names who was influencing me. The initials was Marvin, Arthur, Greg, maybe a couple more, I can't remember right now. Anyway, we waited about 3 o'clock in the morning to put in effect Mission Bobby. Quietly and humbly, we went down towards the road. We lived like an eighth of a mile from the road, and we went way out from the house headquarters, not the Waking headquarters, Mom and Dad. They were old. They was probably in their 30s, and they needed their sleep. Now, they could trust us, but we thought we'd just let them rest. Anyway, Bobby did not want to go. He didn't. We had to carry him, drag him down. He was scared to death. So we put Bobby in the middle of the road. He didn't move a muscle. I mean, a straw or whatever was in him. But, we tried to tell Bobby, somebody's got to take a hit for the team. You know what I mean? Anyway, it's dark. It's about 3 o'clock in the morning. This is the early 1970. We're talking maybe 1969, 1970, and there wasn't many cars on the road, especially 3 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, so we probably waited about 30 minutes, and finally we heard him coming. Now, we're hiding in the weeds, just waiting for the next victim, the next one to come along. Anyway, and now this is amazing. This is, again, around 1970. Even way back in that day, brakes and headlights just work wonderful, because when the headlights headlights was coming down the road and seen Bobby in the middle of the road. Nobody wanted to hit Bobby. They began to hit their brakes. The lights lit Bobby up, and they're hitting the brakes and they're swerving around Bobby. And it's an amazing thing. When you hit brakes on a car, it stops the car, which made it perfect for a target. And we unloaded our ammunition immediately. The eggs, perfect hit. Anyway, the car stopped. Oh, have mercy. We're hiding in the weeds. Well, not hiding, we're standing up now. So now we fall back like rats. We get way as far as we could. We couldn't go far because the person had got out of the car. Okay, and now we're right beside our driveway. And on our driveway, there's a bank on the left hand, on the right hand side. It's kind of up in the air. We're down on the bank on the left hand side. And as we're down there, we heard him. Footsteps. Was walking in the gravel just above us. Did a terrible thing happen? A big spotlight come on. Now we're laying there. Now we're buried in honeysuckle, and this light is all over us. We should have did the author and put on soot all over our face, but we're laying there in honeysuckles hiding. Now let me inject here. My mama, good godly woman, still is. She taught me and Marvin how to pray. Tell you what. And knew one thing about the Bible does not give any certain way that you can pray. Sometimes they stood up and raised their hand. Sometimes they prayed out loud, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes they laid prostrate on the ground. And that's what we did. We did not take prayer requests. No, we didn't. But we're laying there making promises to God. Probably said, ain't never going to do this again. Please, Lord, deliver us. Have mercy. Help us. We do pray. Then we heard it. We heard the radio. It wasn't the beat bop, bop, beep, bop, beep, bop of rock and roll today. Oh no, it was a police radio. Oh, that was really scared to death. We're laying there in the spotlight just going back and forth. And he's going up down the driveway. And he couldn't find it, so he went back up towards the road. And when he got far enough away, oh, have mercy, we did the rats and the snakes. I tell you what we did. We got on our hands and knees like rats. We got on our bellies and we crawled away from the police officer to get out of the way. And we got up in the field out of the way. Now, finally, the police officer left. Oh, what a relief, you know what I'm saying? But we had to check on Bobby. So we went down there, and sure enough, there's Bobby. He's still there. He's still intact. I think he was in the ditch anyway. And I know we should have kept our promises, you know what I'm saying? But we had Bobby. He was still in good shape, and we still had ammunition, eggs, right? You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so we put Bobby back in the middle of the road, and we're waiting for somebody else to come along. And so as we're laying there, sure enough, here coming up, we could hear them coming in the distance. And they was coming at a good high rate of speed. And all of a sudden, back in 1970, lights and brakes was working wonderful. And the lights hit Bobby. The brakes comes on, slows the car down. It's swerving and miss Bobby in the middle of the road. And, you know, when they slowed down, we unloaded our ammunition. Oh, perfect hit. It was wonderful. Now, again, they stopped and they got out. So again, we fell back like rats. We went as far as we could, got back in the honeysuckles along our driveway. Now, this time there was two people. Oh mercy, these was not righteous men. They come out, they was loud, they was a screaming, they was a cussing, they was all upset. We was afraid they was going to wake up headquarters, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, now we know they didn't come from church. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, you know. They'd probably come from the bars, you know what I'm saying? And going home, all they'd been drinking, and they was carrying on. They was upset, and they was mad. Oh, mercy. So we laid there. Now, understand now, this is our second mission. We are getting experience in this, so we lay real low. Anyway, after all the fuss and the cussing, they finally left, you know what I'm saying? And so we get back up. Now, here's where it gets a little sketchy. Marvin believed that they beat Bobby up, scattered his remains all over the road. Terrible thing, you know what I'm saying? But what I remember, they took Bobby. Bobby had been kidnapped. The two heathens who ended up being our neighbors, because how we found out was, if I remember right, Arthur was going to do the neighborly thing from time to time and go visit the neighbors. You know what I'm saying? And when he got there, there was Bobby. They had kidnapped Bobby. And so they were accusing Arthur, saying, yeah, you was the one down there throwing eggs and putting his dummy in the road. And Arthur says, no, we wouldn't do nothing like that. Of course not, we wouldn't. Now, I think later on he did confess that it was us, but you did just face the facts. What are they going to do, call the police? You know, if they would call the police, we'd say, Bobby had been kidnapped. We was trying to defend Bobby with eggs. Anyway, that's how it went down. Anyway, it's a terrible thing. But now, can I confess more things to you? In the next 7 years, I was under other influences, bad. I'll leave out the names or the initials. Different other people began to influence me in the wrong way. Oh yeah, I prayed for deliverance. I began to cuss and carry on like my neighbors, began to drink like my neighbors, and do a lot of worse things than that. You know, gonna say, ain't never gonna do that again. You ever say that? Ain't never gonna do that again. But I did it again, and again, and again, because I become a prisoner of sin. I was a slave. I was bound. I was hopeless. You know, the Bible named me out. Proverbs 26:11 says this, as a dog returneth to his vomit, so a fool returneth to his folly. You ever do that? You ever say, you ain't never going to do that again? And what did we do? Did it again. As I mentioned, I go to prisons from time to time to preach. And I ask the same question. Who's ever said, they ain't never going to do it again? Of course, if they did it again, that's the reason they're there. But they always say, yeah, we did it again because bound. But October 23rd, 1976 at Ravenswood, West Virginia, in an old storefront church meeting, revival meeting, I come face to face with myself and God. I was lost without God, heading to hell. And God saved me that night. I asked God to forgive me of my sins and all the things that I've done in life. You know what? God did it. That's been 44 years ago. It's wonderful. Because the Bible says in Romans 10:13, for whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. But you have to mean it. You know, are you bound in sin and with no hope? And you keep saying, I ain't never going to do that again. But you did it again and again and again. The guilt of sin is a terrible thing. It's chains. It will take you to your grave. But if you focus on Romans 10:13, for whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. But you have to mean it.